Nick wakes up after sleeping on drug. His girlfriend is missing. He gets up to check. He hears banging sounds and clanking in the church's building. He gets downstairs. There's a man dead, and there are stains of blood which lead him to his girlfriend, Gloria. She is eating a man's flesh. Her eyes are white and she's all stained with blood. She comes towards Nick. He runs. He gets out of the church, gets on the road, and stops in the middle of the road while he's running from her. A car hits him. Madison, Travis, and Alicia are his family living together. Travis is their stepfather. Today, he has to take his son from his ex-wife on the weekend to spend time together, but he denies spending time with Travis. They receive a call from the hospital. They get to Nick. The police are asking Nick questions about the flesh and blood he mentioned before. He doesn't tell them anything. Madison sends the officer out of Nick's room. They ask him why he was running. He just says this and that and doesn't tell them what he saw. Madison and Travis are teachers. Madison goes to get her glass while another teacher takes Travis's class. In school, a boy named Tobias passes through the metal detector. It alerts. Madison approaches him before the principal and takes him to his office. Upon asking, he tells her that there might be a virus or microbe spreading faster in many states, so a knife makes him feel safer. She takes it from him. Nick tells Travis about what he saw at the church and tells him about where it's located. Travis gets to the church. A boy hiding runs away and screams, "Don't kill me." He finds bloodstains and falls over the spot where Gloria was eating the flesh of a man. He runs quickly out of there. Madison doesn't believe me at first, but then they get to the church together. It's weird things. Upon seeing all the blood, Madison determines that something worse happened here. They quickly get out of here. Alicia spends some time with her boyfriend at school on the roof, looking at the view of the city. In the hospital, there's a patient beside Nick. When the nurse is supporting Nick with toilet waste, he gets critical. The doctor takes him downstairs where he dies. Nick runs away from the hospital. When Madison and Travis get here, he's already gone, and the nurse tells them they can't do anything. They need to call the police for help. Madison gets to the house along with Alicia. They look out for him and reach his friend Cal. They ask him about Nick. He doesn't know where Nick is right now, but he can help them with his contacts. Nick buys a new phone and calls Cal to meet for drugs. Travis and Madison are driving on the highway in their van. A police car passes them. Ahead, there's a traffic jam, and it seems like there's an accident. A police helicopter is spinning overhead. Gunshots are fired. They leave. Madison goes. There's a leaked video of shooting an undead man, and it's going viral. The district decides to have a half day, and the school gives leaves. Students leave. Nick calls Calvin and meets him at a takeaway. He asks him what was in that drug that turned Gloria into undead. Calvin takes him to an uncrowded canal tunnel. He tries to kill Nick, but Nick sees the gun in his hand and defends himself as he gets out of the car. Calvin gets shot. Nick calls Travis to come. Both Travis and Madison reach him. He shows them where Calvin died and what happened. There's no body, only his car. They wonder where he went. They get back into the truck and reverse drive when a slow man is coming towards them in the dark. It's Calvin. Travis and Madison try to talk to him. Cal tries to bite Madison, but Nick hits him with the truck and saves them. He hits him several times, but he's undead. The episode ends here. Matt and Alicia decide to meet on the beach, but he doesn't appear. The next day, she goes to his house and finds out he's sick. Since his parents are out of town in Vegas, she takes care of him. She then calls Travis and Madison, who come over. Travis discovers that Matt has been bitten near the shoulder. They take Alicia with them and leave. Matt asks her to leave as well. They return home, where Travis tries to contact his ex-wife Liza and son Chris, but they don't respond. He decides to go to Liza's place to get them and leave the city. However, Chris isn't there, and he's not answering calls. Meanwhile, the police shoot an undead on the road, sparking protests. Chris joins the protesters with his camera, recording the crime scene. Travis and Liza find Chris and try to leave, but they encounter looters and chaos in the streets. Unable to get help from the police, they seek shelter in a barber's shop. The barber's wife allows them inside and closes the door. Nick's health worsens, and he needs prescribed medicine for his addiction. Alicia stays with Nick while Madison goes to the school to retrieve medicine from the emergency kits. Tobias is also at the school to reclaim his knife. They both go to the LAPD locker at the school, where Tobias finds a lot of food. As they try to leave, Madison encounters the principal, who has turned and tries to attack her. Tobias comes to her rescue, but the principal attacks him. Madison saves Tobias and takes him home. She then returns home to Alicia and Nick, giving Nick some oxy and calling Travis, who informs her that they're stuck in a shop due to street congestion. Alicia witnesses an undead neighbor attacking another person, but Madison stops her from intervening and closes the door. The episode ends with scenes of riots, protests, looting, dead bodies on the streets, and police attempting to restore order. Chris is looking out the window, observing the chaos outside. He notices the shop wall heating up and decides they should all leave together. As they open the door, looters enter the shop and they quickly exit. On the way, one of them, Griselda, has a container structure fall on her leg. Travis helps her, and they all get into his truck and leave. They arrive at the hospital, but police are shooting at undead patients. Nearly all hospitals are in chaos like this now. On their way, they notice the electricity and lights in the whole city of Los Angeles are going out, plunging the entire city into darkness. Nick brings a dog into the house, which starts barking, attracting an undead toward their home. They go to their neighbor Susan's house to retrieve her shotgun. Nick grabs the shotgun, and as an undead enters their house, Travis and the others arrive home. Madison, Nick, and Alicia rush to save them, and an undead attacks Travis, but the barber shoots it in the head, saving him. Alicia retrieves the bullets they left behind, but is attacked by Susan. Chris saves her, but she accidentally punches him in her haste, causing him to get angry. Travis tends to Chris's injured nose. The barber's family stays with them for the night, and Travis buries Peter. Madison and Liza discuss Susan, with Madison wanting to kill her. Travis tries to convince her not to avoid regret later. Griselda is sick, so Madison gives her some oxy. The next morning, as they leave for the desert, Patrick, Susan's husband, returns. Madison stops to save him just as the army arrives. They take charge from there. The army's arrival is seen as too late by the barber, who believes they have arrived when it's already too late. Nick tries to enter someone else's house, but sees a little girl in the window, so he abandons the idea. He looks up at the sky where a plane is about to crash. The army takes over control of the camp they've established for the survivors in Los Angeles. Travis returns from his morning run and has an argument with Madison, which ends with Alicia intervening, telling them not to fight. Chris is sitting on the roof, shooting with his camera. He sees light reflections from a house in the dead zone and shows it to Travis, who dismisses it as just reflections. Nick swims in the pool. Madison asks him about his medicine left on the table, which he didn't take. He replies that he wants to end his addiction. The commanding officer of the camp announces among the civilians that no one can leave the camp, or they will be punished. Ophelia meets a soldier who is interested in her, which Alicia also notices. The commanding officer, Mayor, asks Travis for help with a man named Doug Thompson, who refuses to come out of the bathroom for a screening checkup. Travis talks to him, and he agrees to the checkup. Alicia misses her boyfriend, Matt. Liza treats a man named Hector in his house, and his wife makes soup for her, which she takes along. Nick sees Liza leaving the house and intentionally removes Hector's drips to let him die. Ophelia makes out with the soldier as they both are starting to like each other. Travis and Madison have sex in a car. When they finish, Maria tells them that Doug has disappeared. Travis finds his car parked near the fence and informs Mayor. Chris shows the footage of lights from the dead zone to Madison. She checks it out in the evening and discovers someone out there. She ventures into the dead zone and finds lots of dead bodies, including those of people who were shot by the army. Barber Daniel tells her a story and warns her to stay vigilant, as things will escalate quickly when the army leaves them to die. Liza arrives at Hector's house, and a military doctor, Dr. Exner, meets her through Cynthia. They take Hector to their camp and offer Liza a job. On their way out, they check on Chris's checkup. Nick desperately wants oxy or any drug after promising to overcome his addiction. Madison beats and slaps him, telling him that he doesn't know what he's doing. Alicia tries to comfort Nick by hugging him. Meanwhile, the military arrives at their house to take Griselda for her surgery at the camp, but they also forcefully take Chris. Liza leaves with Exner. Madison and Travis no longer trust the army. Travis goes to the roof and is shocked when he sees and hears shootings in the same house they saw lights from. In field camp, a black man emotionally triggers Douglas by talking dirty about his wife, making him feel weak. Soldiers remove him. Nick is kept in the same fenced cabin with this man. Ophelia throws rocks and screams at soldiers to bring back her mother. Adams arrives and helps her understand, and they leave together. One soldier tries to leave, saying he can't do this anymore, but is stopped by Moyers and the sergeant. Madison finds a letter from Matt in Alicia's room, so she checks on Alicia. She hears a sound from the basement, goes there, and finds Daniel keeping a soldier in the basement, trying to torture and extract information from him. She asks why he's doing that, and he replies it's to bring back Nick and Griselda. At first, he doesn't reveal anything, but later, when he brings his torture tools, he immediately divulges their location. He tells them they are kept in a field hospital, established in a command center at a college 3 kilometers east. Daniel tortures Adams to extract information from him, going as far as torturing him to the point of injuring his hands and arms. When Ophelia sees this, she screams and leaves the house. Madison returns home and sees what Daniel has done to Adams. Daniel learns from Adams that soldiers are leaving the camp the next day at 9 o'clock. They have closed 2,000 undead in the town's arena. Travis goes to Moores to talk and persuade him to go to the field hospital, but he initially refuses. Later, he agrees to take him to Dr. Exner. The sergeant complains that his squad has been up for 50 hours, and Moores should take another squad, but Moores dismisses his complaint and tells them to get in the car. Moores takes Travis in the car, and they head downtown. On the way, they encounter an undead. Moores asks Travis to take it down, but Travis hesitates. Moores takes the shot and tells Travis that if he thinks it's human, then they are all murderers. One squad gets stuck in the library, so they evacuate them first. Only 3 of them, including Travis, make it out without Moores and the other soldiers. They take Travis and head for San Diego, canceling the plan to go to the field hospital. Liza learns quickly in the field hospital and asks Dr. Axler to see Griselda, but she refuses. Despite this, she goes to check on her and finds her legs have been amputated after surgery. Griselda dies in Liza's arms. Chris and Alicia find a house belonging to rich people who have already left. They enter the house, wear their clothes, and break precious items. The military checks the temperature of the black man and Chris, and upon finding Chris has a fever, they take him down to the basement. The black man saves him by trading diamonds and a precious watch with the soldier. Nick asks why he saved him, and he replies he will help him execute the next plan, which is to escape. When Chris and Alicia return in the evening, they see army vehicles passing by, taking their stuff and indicating they are leaving. Daniel goes to check the arena, where soldiers claim they closed 2,000 undead, and discovers they were correct. The arena is filled with undead. After Daniel checks out that the arena is full of undead, he gets there and tells everyone. All of them get ready to leave the camp and get to Nick and Griselda and then leave the city. They decide to kill Adams because he is finished with his job and he is of no use anymore. But Travis stops them and tells them that he is still of use because they don't know where they have kept them and the way. Adams tells them that he can draw a map for them and can lead them directly to them because that field hospital is a maze place and they will not be able to find them, so they all agree. Travis decides to make him sit with him because others don't want to let him sit with them. All of them leave in cars. While they are about to leave, Adams asks Travis to let him go because he tells him that he is just being kept alive to be shot after by Daniel. Travis understands this, and all of them leave in cars. They see the other families don't know, and they are just comfortable in their house not knowing what is coming for them. All soldiers. They have left camp and have gone. They open the gate themselves and get out. Daniel leads all 2,000 undead from the arena to the command center. Soldiers get busy with the undead, and in that moment, they get into the command center from the parking lot. They leave Alicia and Chris behind with the car, and all of them get inside. The black man is with Nick, and they all listen to the shoutings and the sounds of shooting, so they know that this is the moment to escape. First, the black man thinks he has lost the key, but Nick has it, so he gives it back to him and they leave. Nick asks him to release the other people in other fences as well, but the black man tells him that it can hurt them, so he will not do it. In the hospital, Dr. Exner wants 20 patients, among which 12 are critical, to be transported to Edward Air Force, and they send a helicopter. But due to the attack, the helicopter denies to land, and they get back to their base. Dr. Exner orders all of the nurses to get onto the vehicles, and she will stop here to take care of the patients. While they are transporting and getting onto the vehicles, the undead break the fences and start infecting soldiers as well. There is a soldier got bitten, and he is killed by the fan of the helicopter. While Chris and Alicia are standing near the car chatting about something, 3 soldiers get towards them. They get into the car, soldiers get to their car and ask them to open it, but they don't. So they break windows and get them out of the car. They ask them for the keys, which Alicia has, but they don't know. They try to touch Alicia, and Chris stops them and punches one of them. In result, one of the soldiers punches him back, and he gets unconscious. Alicia gives them the keys. Blackman and Nick get out of there, and on the way, they confront zombies eating the soldiers. One of them is Melvin, who took the watch and diamonds from Blackman. Blackman takes the watch from his hand and leaves him to die. Travis, Daniel, Ophelia, and Madison get to the fence cabins, where a lot of people are kept. They release all of them, but Nick is not among them, so they go find him. Nick and Blackman are stuck behind a digital door. They try to open it, but it doesn't. And on the other way, the zombies are approaching them. While finding them, Nick, Madison, Travis, and others find them. At the moment, Lisa also arrives and opens the door with the ID and saves them eventually. They get stuck in the kitchen, where zombies attack them, all of them individually, defense themselves, and get out of there. Daniel asks Lisa that where is Griselda. She tells that she didn't make it. Ophelia wants to see her body. Lisa tells her that it is not possible. Anyway, Liza gets them to the hall, where Dr. Exner already has killed all the patients, to not let them turn. She asks Dr. Exner to go with them, but she denies. She tells them another way from where they can get out of the hospital, which is the staircase near the ICU. But she tells them that they will get out, but will not make it in the world. They get into the parking lot, where Alicia and Nick are not there. They shout their names, and they appear from a staircase room in front of them. They tell them that what happened. Adams is hiding somewhere behind the cars, and comes in front with a gun in hand, and he wants to shoot Daniel, but instead he shoots Ophelia. Travis attacks him and beats him to death. Ophelia is shot on the arm near shoulder. They leave in a car. Blackman guides them to his house. He guides them through an uncrowded path. They see many undead soldiers, stuck in crashed helicopters, and the city burning. They get to his house, where all of them are, first astonished, and also feeling comfortable. Liza tells Daniel that Ophelia will be okay, and gives them the bandages and dressing. Nick asks Blackman where Abigail is, so he shows him Abigail, which is a yacht. Liza goes down to the beach, and Madison follows her. She asks what she is doing here. Liza tells her that she is infected, so she wants Madison to shoot her instead of Travis doing it. Travis arrives as well and asks what has happened. Madison tells him that. For a while, he doesn't know what to do, but Liza tells him that this infection will turn her, and she wants him to do it, to end her. So he shoots her. There's a shoot sound. Everyone runs towards them and finds out that she is dead. Travis is now out of his mind, crying, and doesn't know what has happened. The waves are crashing, and the sea is filled with ship oil, which ends this season. Army starts bombing Los Angeles with napalms. Victor and Nick get to Abigail with Daniel and Ophelia on a motorboat. There's uninvited guests coming towards the yacht, so Victor stops on the yacht, and Nick takes the boat to get Travis, Madison, Chris, and Alicia. Undeads reach beach shore and are falling from high land towards the beach. They are starting to get crowded by them. At the right exact moment, Nick reaches and gets all of them on the boat. An undead tries to attack on the boat. Nick crushes it with the engine. They all reach Abigail. Victor starts it and sets destination towards south to San Diego. Abigail can make it to 1,500 miles in sea if they don't put much stress on engines. Alicia gets a radio and tries to connect to other survivors. There's a boat sinking on their way. Madison, Nick, they ask Victor to stop and take them on their boat. Victor denies to stop since it might be very risky, as someone among them might be infected. When they get far into the sea and reach sea at 44 meters, they push Liza's dead body into sea. Chris is very angry and sad. Travis tries to talk to him. Chris punches him. Madison sees what happened. Alicia meets a Jack on radio. He tells her that he is with his brother and sister-in-law and are on a boat with no fuel. They have little water left. During their conversation, he gets the boat's location from Alicia in a way that it didn't seem anything suspicious. Alicia tells Madison and Travis that Jack is in trouble and they should save them. Victor gets furious since they shouldn't be talking or trusting anyone, and there's everywhere chaos on land. He tells them that they are alive because of this boat. Daniel and Chris do fishing. Daniel catches a fish, they cook it and set table. Chris goes on the yachts and jumps into sea. On hearing a splash sound, Nick runs and jumps as well. He gets to Chris. Chris says that he just wants to swim. Chris swims as well and gets deeper underwater. He ends up with an undead above him. He escapes it and gets out under a boat. There's a logbook. While he gets it, an undead attacks him. Somehow he gets away. Travis and Daniel take the motorboat and get Chris and Nick. This is rubble of a destroyed ship, and people who were on it are undeads now. Victor sees that the yacht catches a signal of an unknown boat coming towards them at 25 miles per hour speed. He asks all of them to get onto the yacht, and they leave. He tells Alicia that it is maybe his friend and those people who destroyed these boats and ship. And now they're coming for us. There's a line of fence set on the shore of the beach to stop walkers from entering the island. There are kids playing on the other side. After Nick is back on the boat, Madison is mad at him because of risking his life. Travis reads the logbook, which Nick brought, and it shows that San Diego is gone. Now they don't know what their next destination is. On the other hand, that boat is getting closer to them. They decide to go to Katrina Island to hide from radar and take supplies from there. It's night when they reach the island. Madison sees a light. They get ashore on the island. Victor stays on the ship. Daniel and Ophelia decide to stay with him as well. Others get to a house where they had seen the light from. A boy comes out, then his father. After introduction, they let Travis and all of them get inside. His name is George and his wife is Melissa. George gives Travis a book. He tells Travis that he contacted Joshua Tree Ranger. They told him that Portland, Vancouver, Utah, Zion, California, Arizona, Colorado, and the Petrified Forest are all gone. The army has dropped bombs with napalm on all cities. Melissa knows that Maddie is a high school teacher and they chat in the kitchen. Her son Seth comes. Melissa introduces Maddie to him. Daniel and Ophelia enjoy the cold breeze outside the ship. Alicia and Nick play with Melissa's kids. Harry and Willa. George recognizes that Travis is Maori and that he is from New Zealand. They become friends. They decide to spend the night here. Nick and Alicia get back to the ship. They enjoy the night's beauty and sky, and they chat about Harry and Melissa, etc. Next morning, Chris is checking out the village when he sees Seth going down towards the beach. He follows him. He's killing undead, which are coming from the sea due to chaos in the sea. Chris kills them as well. Travis arrives, and they get back. George and Travis together make a fence. Across the other side is Katrina Island Resort. George tells him that when everything went down, ferries stopped and all people got stuck on the island and turned. And now they flow towards their side by sea. So that's why they're building more and more fences. Nick checks out their out for medicines, and he finds poison pills hidden in a globe. That boat following Abigail is vanished from radar, so Victor takes a break and gets to the island. Upon Madison's insisting that why did she turn on the light at night, she tells her that they're just passing time, and the island is not that safe. She wants Harry and Willa to be taken by Madison so that they can live a good life. Maddie tells this to Travis. When they get Melissa and she prepares the kids to go with them, she tells them that they're going on a boat trip. George arrives. There's a drama about to happen when Harry comes downstairs and tells that Willa took a pill and something has happened to her. Melissa runs to her. She's turned and bites her. Maddie and Travis take Harry with them and leave while George decides to stay in his house. When they get onto the ship, Seth comes with a rifle and takes Harry with him. There's his infected mother coming from the other side. While Harry is looking at the other side, waving at the ship, Seth gets her with a rifle shot. After a plane crash landed in the sea, a few survivors stay together on a raft. One of them is pulled into the water by a walker and is bitten. One of the others kicks him into the water. There is Alex, Jack, and 2 others left. Jack is wounded from the crash. At night, one of them tries to kill Jack. Alex kills him first. Now only 3 of them are left. The third one is killed soon as well. Travis and Madison are lying calm and getting intimate with each other when they hear a sound. The engine of the yacht is constantly cooled by seawater, but now there's something stuck in the filtration pipe. Travis decides to check. It's night right now. He gets under the yacht, and there's an undead stuck in the pipe. He gets back and tells them. Travis says that he can fix it, but it might take the whole day. Victor emphasizes him to do it in 2 hours. Otherwise, the boat following them will catch them with a .50 caliber gun. Ophelia's wound is infected, and she's not taking antibiotics. She says she'll ask Madison for some medicine. Daniel stops her from asking anything from her. Alicia runs on deck as she sees a lot of luggage. Madison says it's risky. Alicia says they're not kids anymore. Daniel decides to take them there. He tells Madison that Victor is heading to Baja, Mexico. Nick, Alicia, Chris, and Daniel get to the island. It's rubble of an airplane. There are rotten dead bodies, but no undead. They split to collect stuff from the luggage. While they're here, Travis goes underwater to fix the pipeline, and Madison waits. Travis pulls out the walker and gets to the water's surface. Nick finds Alicia a summer hat while she finds him a pilot's shirt. Chris goes much further to another fallen part of the airplane. There are people tied to their seats and have turned. One of them is still alive. He pulls him out of his seat, but he's got a severe injury, so Chris kills him before he turns. Alicia comes finding Chris. He's stained with blood, and upon her asking about the blood, he tells her that he killed someone. Nick helps Daniel find medicines for Ophelia. Nick and Daniel split. Nick falls into a dig and gets right under a stuck undead. He kills the undead with his knife, but another undead falls over him from the upper ground. There's a woman running from the ascent of the desert. It's Alex. She tells Daniel to run. Daniel, Chris, Alex, and Alicia retreat towards the boat. Undead crowd them, and they defend themselves. Nick appears from among the undead, and he's stained with an undead's blood, so undeads are not attacking him. He protects Alicia. All of them get onto the boat and get to the ship. Victor denies letting Alex come with them. Finally, after all the arguments, Travis suggests that they'll provide her food and medicine, and will tow her raft to their ship until they reach San Diego. It's been barely an hour or two. Madison is standing on the rear deck when Victor cuts the raft from the ship and lets Alex fight alone for her survival. Victor sends Nick to find Luis and bring him to Abigail. Nick gets to shore unclothed. He covers himself and wears clothes. The area seems like it was a rescue camp. It has all tents. There's undead as well. Nick makes one undead chase him to a tent, closes zip, and kills the undead. He covers himself in blood to camouflage as an undead. He gets to a residential area, Abigail home experience. There's undead there, but they don't smell him human. He gets to the house he is told by Victor. There he meets Luis. He shows him a sign of Victor. Nick takes a shower while Luis puts necessities and ammo in his Porsche. They get to the shore, take a boat, and set out to get to Abigail. Here at Abigail, it's night when a boat with 3 people tows to Abigail. At that time, Chris and Ophelia were chatting and Chris has a gun. One of them is a pregnant woman and they need help. When they get aboard, they take all of them as hostiles. Alicia recognizes Jack. They tie all of them. Their leader, Connor, arrives. He decides to take Alicia and Travis with him. They say they'll leave others to shore. While Victor tries to escape, Reed shoots his raft. After Connor leaves, Reed makes Travis start the ship on the force of threatening to kill Chris. Here Luis and Nick arrive near Abigail. Nick sees it from far that they have taken Abigail. Before they shoot their boat, Luis takes an aim with his sniper rifle and kills all of them except Reed. The others wound Reed and tie him up. When Luis gets on the deck, there's confusion at first, but it's solved. They go find Victor. He's shivering with hypothermia in open sea. They go get him. There is people gathered in a church. All of them get outside with hand weapons to get to fight a woman, Celia. Thomas, Abigail comes to stop them since he says that they'll be killed. He knows because they're his people. Starting from women and children, all of them start bleeding from eyes and start turning. Travis talks to Chris about killing Reed that he wasn't turned when Chris shot him. They reach shore and they have to meet a guy, Miguel, to pay them to let them cross into Baja. That guy comes earlier towards Abigail. Luis and Victor decide to deal with them, while rest of them get and stay inside and down in Engine's room. Luis pays them. They insist to check out whole ship, which turns situation to killing each other. They all get out and see that Miguel, his partner, are dead, and Luis has got shot. Victor starts engines and leave across while 2 boats are shooting at them. Daniel kills all of them in head. When he's about to kill Luis, he stops him to kill him in head. Ophelia finds a coin of an owl made on it and gives to Daniel. He throws it into water. They reach ashore. They get to church where they find bodies of those people. Victor runs towards inside of church to find Thomas. In that while, undead surround them. They defend themselves. A walker falls over Madison and Chris is near to her, but seeing this, he's froze and isn't saving her. Alicia saves her mom. All of them get to Thomas's house on a truck. They meet Celia. A maid, Sophia, takes all of their weapons. Victor tells Celia that Luis didn't make it in fight with military. Victor gets to Thomas. He's sick. He's glad that he's back before he dies. Chris gets to Alicia while she's watching a recorded video on TV. She tends to leave. Chris stops her and asks her to do not tell anyone about today because he froze, and telling others will cause their relationship get worse. Nick is hungry and gets to Celia. Dinner is at 8 o'clock at night, but she gives him soap. Madison gets to Victor and Thomas. Thomas asks her to take care of Victor after he's gone. Ophelia gets to Daniel to call him for dinner. He's talking about her mom and tells her to tell others that he is tired. When Madison gets to Alicia, she tells her about Chris and that she got scared because of how he acted. Madison gets to Travis and tells him that Chris threatened Alicia to the point that she felt like he'll rise his hand on her. Travis tells her that he's son, and he needs them just Nick did earlier. Nick accompanies Ophelia when she gets to home church for her mother. While she's busy, Chris sees glimpses of Gloria back at church when all this started. While Daniel is passing through a room, he sees a boy talking to someone. When he gets inside, it's several undeads locked behind a cell. He gets to Celia to talk about it. She tells him that they are all those people who have worked for this family for years. Nick chats with Celia about their beliefs about undead. Thomas is taking his last breaths. Victor stays with him all this time until his breaths stop. It's night. Chris gets out of his bed and comes to room where Alicia and Madison are asleep. He takes a knife from table when Victor kills Thomas to stop him from turning. Upon sound of shot, both get up. Alicia screams at Chris to get out. A small child, afraid, is standing at core in water, holding a gun in hand. It's Daniel's dream. He wakes up Ophelia and takes her and walks fast to somewhere. She can't walk and is sick. She is dying and turning. It's Daniel seeing a dream within a dream. He wakes up at the sound of gunfire. Ophelia isn't in bed. It's Victor who has killed Thomas. Celia tells Victor and all of the others to get gone from her house after Thomas's funeral. Daniel gets to Ophelia. He's breathing fast and asks if she's okay. Daniel tells Victor to not bury Thomas since he thinks that this place is unholy and infected. Travis comes looking for Chris to Alicia. She tells him that when they wake up upon hearing the sound of gunfire, he was standing near them with a knife. Travis sees Chris in the crops field. He runs away from him. Travis follows him through the field. Nick brings Luis as undead for Celia. She gets him locked with other undeads. Nick takes a bath. Madison gets clothes for him. She tells him that after leaving LA, he has changed, while he replies that he changed even before that. She tells them to pack their everything and they'll leave at night. Madison gets to Victor. She chats with him about Nick. Victor tells her that he'll get back to his boat and asks if they'll go with him. She tells him that she can't go without Travis. Travis gets past an undead killed by Chris's knife. He gets to a house with his injured feet. He comes across a man. He hydrates him and gives him shoes. Upon leaving, he sees a shadow in the other room. Upon asking, that man tells him that Chris is holding his son at gunpoint, and if he doesn't make him leave, he'll kill him. He gets into the room. He distracts him and pulls his gun away. Chris runs away. Travis chases him, pushes him, pulls his knife away, and gets hold of him. Nick finds them, but Travis tells him to tell Madison that he never met him since he is going with Chris because he needs him. Madison and Celia get to the cell to see undeads. While Celia is inside the cell, Madison locks it on her back and leaves. Here Daniel is fighting his mind. He puts the man on guard to unconscious. He sprays fuel on the floor and puts it on fire. Nick sees the house from afar, being on fire. Every one of them gets to the truck to leave without Daniel, thinking he's gone. Nick gets there. He tells Madison that he couldn't find him and denies to go with them. All of them leave in the truck, while Nick gets on his way across undeads. Nick wakes up in Sophia's house. She is preparing to set out for her destination towards north. She's going with an orphan boy, Juan. She gives Nick enough supplies and water for his journey to Tijuana. They hug, say goodbye, and set off on their journeys. Nick travels through highway roads. He has enough water. He is constantly thinking of Gloria. It gets dark. He reaches a town. He finds an empty house, decides to spend his night there. He puts fire on and falls asleep. At midnight, a woman and her daughter get into the house. It's her house. She starts beating him with a ball bat. She doesn't even let him get his bag and supplies. He gets onto the road again, finds abandoned vehicles, finds water in a car. He finds a radio. A jeep approaches. He hides behind a car. There are 3 men. They step down and kill undeads in those vehicles, but they kill an alive man as well. There's a clink on the radio which attracts them. Nick runs down the road and gets really far enough from them. To satisfy his thirst, he wears off his shirt to hold a cactus, breaks it and tries to drink its juice, but it doesn't help. He falls asleep, backing a rubble of a vehicle. He is dreaming about his time with Gloria at rehab, and when he lost his dad in an accident, and how Gloria took care of him. When he wakes up, there are two dogs at him. They attack him and bite his leg. He gets up onto the vehicle rubble. There's a herd of incoming undeads. They eat the dogs. Nick gets down and eats some of the flesh left by the undeads to survive. He takes a belt from the pant of an undead and tightens it on his bitten leg. He travels among them. When they get on the road, that same jeep with 3 men arrives. They shoot many undeads. Nick, without fearing their bullets and shots, keeps going. One of them recognizes him and becomes static. His bullets fall. While he retrieves them, the undead get him and his other partner. The third one of them runs away in the jeep. The undeads left their bones behind. Next morning, a group of 3 people recognize that Nick is human while he's traveling among them. Their leader, Luciana, denies to help him and they leave. He falls down on the road and falls asleep as night descends. He dreams about the church, the night before it all started, when he and Gloria were together, happy and in love. He's dying of thirst. It gets night and it rains, which helps him survive. He is still lost in memories of Gloria. When he gets up, he is now 40 miles from Tijuana and is in a town. He gets to a pharmacy but finds nothing. He finds a tap in a shop, takes it, and bandages his leg. While he's taking care of it, Luciana arrives with her 2 men. Him if he's bitten. He tells them that it's dogs that have bitten him. They take him along and get to a man who is probably a doctor. He takes care of his leg and bandages it to avoid infection. When he gets out of the clinic, he sees that it's a big community of survivors, with man-made walls behind a hill and a little far from town. Nick gets up after resting and sees people with injuries, and that doctor is treating them with bandages. He goes around the place. He sees a girl crying. She is crying for his dad since others are sending him across safe zone to undeads to be eaten, bitten, and turned by them. He gets back. He gets to clean bandages, but water is even dirtier than bandages. Luciana tells him that they have got a work to do. They both get to undeads through a bus, which is the only way to pass on either side. Luciana puts an undead, tightens to the wall with knives, cuts throat. They both cover themselves with his blood to go through undeads. On the way, Nick asks her why they sent that man to undeads to be killed. She tells that whoever is sick and are about to die, they send them to undeads, and they work as a wall between them and any outside threats. They get a mart. A gang holds and runs mart. They give them medicines, and in return, they let them take 1 cart filled with anything they want. They take water and bandages. They see that mart has a lot of people sick, and they need medicines for them. When they get out of there, Nick is caught while he's trying to steal a cake. The leader of the gang, Alejandro, is about to cut off his arm. Nick offers them oxy for his sister, since she will not survive without it. He offers them that they'll keep providing medicines if they let them go. Alejandro agrees. And now they'll take another cart as well. He gives that cake to that small girl whose father was killed. That doctor asks Nick about the fight at the mart and warns him that he can happily live here, but if he threatens their community again and puts it in danger, he'll put him to undeads. Madison, Alicia, Ophelia, and Victim are looking for Travis for 2 days. They find him in North and South. They head back to the coast. Their Abigail is gone. Military took it just after they landed. They leave a sign on the beach for Travis to head north. They get to a beach hotel. They clear its halls. Madison and Victor start having drinks, and soon they become lost in drinks and Victor playing a loud piano. Alicia and Ophelia get to other floors. The rooms are labeled and have undeads in there. One of them is clean. They get inside and take stuff they need from the minibar and room. They see that the owner of the room is turned after he must have committed suicide. Ophelia takes a shower. When she gets out, there's no Ophelia. She gets to the balcony and sees that undeads are falling from floors to ground due to the loud piano and noise. They surround Madison and Victor while they take cover in the bar and are stuck. Chris and Travis are walking on foot. Travis's foot is still injured and is in recovery. They find a van. While Travis starts it using wires, Chris insists to check a restaurant nearby for supplies. Travis allows him to go carefully. He gets to the restaurant, takes supplies. He sees 2 fresh dead bodies of owners. There's undead enters from the back door. Chris kills one of them. Suddenly from the door, a boy appears. Undead attacks him. Chris saves him and runs away with supplies. He gets in the van and they leave. It gets dark, and they keep going since those people of the restaurant might be on them. Chris asks to drive. Travis exchanges seats with him. At first, he guides him, then he's good at this. One way, they see an undead. They get to an open place. They put on fire. While Chris gets on the side to light his body, a van fast comes towards them. He puts out first and they hide in bushes. These are the same 3 guys from the restaurant. Travis appears in front of them. After a chat, they decide to be together. They let Chris keep supplies, which he stole from them since he saved his life. They put their guard by hanging wires with cold drink tins around themselves so that they could hear if undead approached them. They tell that their names are Brandon, Derek, and Baby James. They're from San Diego, and they now plan to get home. Travis tells them that San Diego is gone. In camp, Travis tells Nick that in the morning, they'll go with them until they find a car and will go on their way. While Chris is insisting to stay with them, in the morning, they leave in a truck. They reach a house down the road. They get there. While others go to check the barn, Travis asks Chris to leave with him. Chris tells that he's going with them and wants to be with them. Travis finds out 3 graves of Sarah, Benito, and Angelica Suarez, so it means someone is here. In the barn, they find hens. While Travis gets to them to a whereabout, that man appears with a gun. Brandon and Chris aim guns at him back. Travis asks them to leave, since this barn is that man's house, and it's not right to do this. While James moves, that man shoots him in the leg. Chris shoots him in the head. Travis is in shock. Chris has become something he's always feared. Alicia stays in that room for a longer time. She counts undeads 5. She leaves to find Ophelia. On hearing her sound of calling loud Ophelia, undeads follow her. She gets to an elevator, opens it, and jumps over to its wires. All undeads fall down on the elevator. A woman, Elena, saves Alicia. When she is saved, Elena asks about her nephew. Alicia knows that it is Elena who tagged rooms. Elena tells that there's a few guests in the hotel who have her nephew, and they want keys to the hotel. Alicia and her trap undeads in a room, and leave to find Madison and others. They get down to the hall, where Alicia finds out from Elena that there was a wedding going on here. The father of the bride had a heart attack and turned. He bit his own daughter in front of her mother. To stop it from spreading in the entire hotel, she locked all of them here, and later she locked them in another hall to stop newcomers. She falls into tears while telling this. That bride's mother, Eileen, appears with her nephew. They demand keys for him. She gives her keys and takes his nephew. Alicia opens doors and undeads enter. She sees a blonde and gets close to find out that it's not Maddie and kills her. A crowd of undeads follow them and they all run. They end up at a door. As it opens, it's Madison and Victor. Ophelia isn't there. Madison and Victor are stuck among undeads. They try to get out of bar. Madison kills a walker, cuts his belly, and they both camouflage as undeads. They get out of there passing among undeads. Their truck is gone. They run for hotel. To get in, the main door is locked, so they use a ladder to get onto the balcony and then inside the hotel. Victor says that Ophelia and Alicia must have taken the truck and left. While Madison doesn't believe in this statement, they both get a shower and get clean. Madison gets herself hydrated. They hear the sound of Alicia screaming for help. They run and get to the door, open it, and save them. Alicia tells that Ophelia went with her own will. Madison thinks that they should go behind to find her since she promised Daniel to take care of her. Victor says that it doesn't matter right now. Elena tells them that other guests have most of the food and ration of the hotel, but they want her dead. Madison and Victor get Oscar and ask them for negotiation. They talk to them about working and surviving together and that none of them needs to leave the hotel. Except Aline, they agree with her. They give her keys and they start cleaning the hotel from undeads floor by floor. Alicia says that it would take weeks this way. She finds out that the beach is muddy and it can help them get undeads cleared at once. They plan to execute it together. All of them split into groups and bring all undeads from all floors by using loud music and noises. Madison leads them across the bridge, while others block all doors behind undeads. Alicia and Elena's nephew take the boat and get just near enough to rescue Madison. At the reaching end of the bridge, she jumps. After her, all undeads fall into water all by together. Alicia and nephew take her on board and get back. While they're having dinner, Oscar isn't there since he's with undead Jessica. Victor gets to him, and after a long emotional conversation, Oscar agrees with Victor's statement that he gotta let her go since she's already gone. Victor enters the room to execute it. Here Nick gets to the pharmacist. He tells him that he can make medicines more long-lasting. He mixes dry milk with white tablets. They make a lot of it working long hours. They both get out and chat about pharmacist, that he was bitten by an infected but didn't turn, and that's how Luciana saved him then. Luciana is playing soccer with kids. Nick joins them and they have fun. Francisco gets there and tells that Luciana's brother Pablo is found. Nick and Luciana get to his house. Nick gives her comfort and hugs her. While they're back, the pharmacist shows Nick his new house. After evening at night, Luciana gets here to Nick's new house. They chat and Luciana falls asleep there on Nick's bed. When she gets and is about to leave, Nick asks her if she's testing him. She looks at him, gets closer, and starting from a soft kiss, they start making out. Ophelia gets to a beach restaurant, Poco Cielo. She gets inside, kills an undead, and gets inside towards the beach. She remembers that her boyfriend had brought her here last time and had proposed to her for marriage. She gets out of there and collects fuel. She has a map and is now setting out and heading for the USA. Francisco leaves the colony with his family, but when they get outside, he's caught by Alejandro. He takes him and his family along with him. Nick and Luciana spend the night together. A man knocks at the door. She opens it and it's a man. He tells her that Francisco is gone with his family. They let the pharmacist know about it. The pharmacist gives a speech to his people and asks them to have faith and stand with him. He restricts Nick and Luciana from dealing with Alejandro for water until he allows them again. Nick asks a scout, Reynaldo, to go with him secretly for water. He gets on the roof and sees that someone is looking at them from afar. It's Alejandro looking at him with binoculars, and he's found them. At Rosarita Beach Hotel, all guests are working together to make the hotel better for their residents. Elena turns on generators while Alicia is practicing water skiing with Hector. All of them are planning and chatting in an apartment. The door is knocked. Victor opens it. It's Eileen. She stabs him and leaves. Madison gets to him. Andres has been in medical school for 2 years, so he sees Victor. He tells that he needs to stitch him and needs a suture kit, antiseptic, alcohol, gauze, and antibiotics. Elena knows a place where they still can find these medicines. It's Hector's brother. Before they leave, Madison decides to keep Eileen closed in a room forever since she's a danger to everyone. Madison and Elena set out for it and they tell that they'll be back in about 2 hours. While they're gone, Andres gives him warmth, while Alicia sits with Victor, chats with him, and takes care of him well. They reach El Pelicano. They let in only Madison and Elena. They give them fresh fish and ice, and they give them medicines. Madison sees Marco screaming at Francisco. She asks Eileen to translate for her and she tells that they are talking about an American boy with ratty hair. She gets to them and asks them if it's Nick. They don't say anything. Elena gets her out of there. They get back to the hotel. Madison directly runs to the electronics control and turns on the big hotel neon brightening board. Alicia gets to her and asks her to turn it off before it attracts people. Travis, standing somewhere at a barren place, sees it and steps forward to get to the hotel. Due to Madison's fault, a crowd of people get to the hotel, and they want to get in. Among them, Travis appears. Madison sees him and asks others to let him in. He gets in, Madison hugs him tight. They get inside the hotel and chat. Travis tells them that he left Chris and tells her the whole story. That after killing that man, he buried him and put a slate at his grave with no name. He treated James' wound. Brandon, Derek, and Chris pack to leave. Travis asks them that James can't travel. He's not fit yet. They get set anyway. No one went so far that James gets unconscious. Travis makes them stop the truck and get back to the barn. Others want to end James, so Travis takes and says that he'll not let any of them kill him. He spends the night protecting him. When it gets morning, Chris gets to give him breakfast. As they sit close together, Chris takes a tight hold of Travis and others break the door and get inside. They kill James. Chris leaves with them. Travis tries till the end to make Chris understand and stop from letting go with them, but all goes in vain and he leaves. Travis says, "God damn you." After that, he went inside the house and found an ID of that man whom Chris killed. He writes the name on the slate and refixes it at his grave. Travis tells Maddie that he couldn't go with him, and when he saw that hotel shining bright in the dark night, he found her. Madison gets to the hall where Andres and Alicia are taking care and treating people whom they let in along with Travis. Madison takes Alicia on the side to the balcony. She tells her a secret and a lie that her father didn't die because he fell asleep while driving. But he left a note. Upon Alicia insisting to know what he said in the note, she tells her, "I love you all, but enough is enough." She asks in tears if Nick knew about this, and Maddie replies with a no. As night ascends dark, it's Brandon and Derek standing at Rosarita's door. Ophelia travels for USA along border. Her truck gets heated up. She gets out to fix it. She takes off her shirt to touch heated up engine. As she's trying to fix it, an undead attacks her. She gets undead stuck in engine cover door and gets inside truck since there's more. She gets all of them one by one. She gets her bag and water and sets on foot for remaining journey. She travels along border. She finds a cut fence as a shortcut. She gets in. As she gets a little far, traveling this way, a man shoots at her. She can't see and find him, so takes cover. That man appears in front of her. It's an old man named Otto. Here, when Lucy is sleeping, Nick gets out of his house at midnight. He and Reynaldo get into clinic to get a lot of oxy. They get out of colony. They get to Marco and present oxy. Nick sees that they're preparing to attack them. So he gives him an offer that he'll consistently provide oxy every week, and in return, he shouldn't attack colony. He denies, as he has found another alternate for medicines, a gang who have drugstores under their control. Marco shows Nick dead bodies of Francisco and his family. They get back to colony. He first tells Lucy about it, and then they both get to Alejandro and aware him about this attack. While they're talking and arguing about what to do, a man who have become undead attacks Alejandro and bites him at arm. As Nick pushes undead, it falls over onto another patient. Undead eats his nose and finger of a nurse. Nick kills undead solely with his fingers. Nick sees that Alejandro is seeming scared. They make that patient and nurse to get into dead zone. As they get back, Nick starts packing his stuff and asks Lucy to do same since they're leaving. Nick says that Alejandro can't do anything now and attack is inevitable. Lucy denies to accompany him. At exact time, Alejandro gets into house. Nick asks him to tell Lucy truth. He tells her that he's not an immune. Lucy checks his forehead and it's warm. Lucy tells him that now he's dead to her. He leaves house. Nick hugs Lucy to comfort her. At hotel, it gets morning. Travis wakes up and sees that Maddie is sitting and looking at him thinking about something. She sits next to him and assures him that what he did about Chris is all right, and that he couldn't have done anything but to let him go. Maddie leaves room and Alicia gets inside with breakfast. Alicia tells him that she has made it for him and he happily smiles. She opens curtains and light brightens room. Travis asks Alicia sorry for not believing her before about Chris. He tells her that he is sick, but he's his son. Maddie gets to hall. She sees Derek and Brandon. Alicia tells her that they came last night and they're very awful. Maddie talks to them. As she knows their names and their story about accident, that driver was killed who was a 16 years boy and only they survived, she immediately recognizes them. She gets to Victor to ask that what to do about it. They make an excuse to exfil them out of hotel, and a whole crowd of people follows them since they take it as if they're going to provide them special room. Travis sees scene and gets downstairs. He stops them at door and asks about Chris. They take them into a room. Brandon tells that after accident, Chris died as he fell out of truck and his neck was broken, and Derek says that they got him out of truck and buried him. Travis catches their lie. As others leave room, he locks door. He starts beating them both. Brandon spits out truth that they killed him. Imagining all this and death of Chris, he gets furiously out of control. Oscar tries to get in, but Travis hit door hard, which hit his skull, and he falls unconscious. Travis beats both Derek and Brandon to death. Alejandro is sick. Lucy fixes his appearance to make him presentable before people. Nick asks Lucy to go with him as he's leaving. She says he should do what he always do, run. She stays. He gets out of colony. As he gets on road, he sees and hears a helicopter. He sees with binoculars. It's a medevac landing at a huge camp across border. He gets back to Alejandro. He tells him about camp and helicopter and says that he can take and lead all of these people across border. He helps him as he's dying. Alejandro gets before people and tells them truth that gang is coming to take over their place. Nick takes all of them and leads them to border. They are a huge group. As they stand at border cross, a group of soldiers attack them. Some are killed. Several run away while Nick and Luciana are caught. Back at Colony, Marco arrives with his gang army. They get across undeads by killing them and get into center of colony. They think everyone has left and colony is theirs now. Alejandro is still here. He moves bus. All undeads get and spread within entire colony. Undeads get all of them. Here at hotel, after Travis killed Brandon and Derek, Hector and others take him into custody and want to lock him. Madison tries to stop them but in vain. Victor stops her that they don't care. Maddie gets back into room with Alicia's knife and kills Brandon and Derek as they have turned. Maddie and Alicia get to Elena. They tell them that all of them will leave along with Travis in mourning and they should now let him go with them. Hector denies, though Elena let them in. Maddie gets in and takes him along. She tells Alicia to keep an eye on Oscar if anything goes wrong. She gets to see Oscar. Andres says that his brain is swelling and he needs to remove a piece of brain. Andres asks her to go. It's almost midnight. Travis and Maddie are chatting. Travis lies on couch and looking at door. There, Oscar dies. Furious Hector and Andres break into their room. Andres pulls his gun on Travis. Before he shoots, Alicia puts a knife in his and he dies. Victor handles situation with gun and get all of others out of room. He says that they need to run now. Except Victor as he tells that he'll be okay alone. Others break hotel's door and leave. Alicia is looking at dark night with bright sky. They get to El Pelicano. They see Francisco and his family's bodies. Maddie sees in their pockets if there's something to lead them to Nick. Well, they get to Colony. It's all undeads there. Alicia stops near bus while Maddie and Travis get to Colony's center, which is filled with undeads. Alicia gets into bus and sees Alejandro is lying and is still alive. Maddie and Travis get here as well. After recognizing them, he tells them that Nick went to North Border. He passes away and Maddie puts him to rest.